Hello, everybody, and just making a quick video here because I just shot a video and it went way too long, and I just wanted to show you guys the chart that I did because we got out of one triangle and went into another triangle. So let's take a look as I share my chart that I have on on my gate IO where I do my technical analysis. All right, so right now, at this point in time. It is trading at 30, this Bitcoin 35,905. And we're going to go full screen so you guys can see this better. All right. So this goes back. This is 2020. This is the movement of Bitcoin. And then here you see at about, when did this start? October, November, we start to pump. And then it breaks through this point of resistance, pumps higher, tests this level way up here, and then drops down. This is a lot of conversation, a lot of noise, all fights its way back up, breaks through this point of the resistance, rocket shots all the way up to the next 236. Level, plummets down, conversation, breaks the level of foundation. Now we're back at this level of conversation, which is here. Will this hold or will it drop down to this level of conversation right here? Conversation is sideways movement. These breakouts happen at the end of long conversations where you have a lot of convergence of energy, a lot of compression of energy as represented by this triangles. And so we have a large downward movement. We can put a point A, comes up. So as it turns around, we put our point B when at the point of that turnaround, point C at that point of this turnaround, point D, and then it charts out a triangle. Now you can draw just with lines if you don't have triangle charting software that just fills in with these colors, this purple color or whatever color that you want it to fill it in with. But if you just have lines and you just connect the bottoms of your wicks whenever your bottoms are making higher lows and your tops are making lower highs. You see a line connect that could come out all the way out to here, and this would come all the way out to here. Your triangle shapes are going to be different depending on whether you're looking at an hourly chart, a 4-hour chart, 8-hour chart, daily chart, weekly chart, monthly chart, because your wicks are going to comprise, they're going to be different sizes. They're going to have different representations. So in this case, what we see here is this is a wick here, all the way down to here, and it charts out here. We see we're testing into this week. Our point Ds are here. And there's our Fibonacci retracement popping up. That's an old fib retracement that I have up there, but it's still relevant. And the Fibonacci retracement tools show more like horizontal lines, points of support / resistance. And the triangles are helpful because as you zoom in, and now these are on the daily, we're on a daily candle, but you can see it's holding pretty well. Test this wick, broke through a little bit, but the bodies are still within this lavender. The bulls want to push it up into this purple and have a breakout to the top. And the bears, well, they're going to have to be satisfied with this lavender triangle here and hope for more consolidation here, more bears rallying and saying, you know what, more bulls rallying. The bulls are going to have to be happy with this lavender triangle until enough of them can say, you know what, we're confident enough weeks went by that this is going to be our new foundation level and we're willing to buy again. Now, I just bought $400 in here. I did that just because I don't know if it's going to break down to the low side again. And as you can see, this slant only gets higher. So even though it's not a big difference here, this is basically 35,000 right here. And then as the weeks go by, it'll go higher. 35. This is like a 36,000 level right here that we're at. And then it'll go up to like 37 here on the high point, 37.5. And at that point, it'll either, if it breaks up, then this is going to be historically going to be looked at as like a great buying time. But it will only be a great buying time if we form new candles and have new conversations up here. And a lot of people believe that once we form a new foundation, a solid foundation at 60,000, that we'll never see these prices again on Bitcoin. Um, at least in the foreseeable future, we're talking the next 10 years, okay, minimum. So that's why I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy a few $100 worth of Bitcoin and let them sit there. Because even if I have to hodl them for 3 years, I don't mind. I don't mind doing that. And that's the attitude that I encourage anybody that has Bitcoin is to, you know, just think that here's the conversation. If you look back in time, this is, I mean, this was the skyrocket. This was a moon rocket. Conversation happened here, moon rocketed here. Big conversation between 30 and 40,000 here. So it's no surprise that this is where everybody wanted the conversation to come back to and say, look, is this going to be our new foundation level in which we never drop it below again over the next 10 years? Because institutional investors, when they buy an asset like Bitcoin, I'm talking institutional investors like banks, they're buying it with the idea that they're going to hold it for 10 years. And so that's the conversation. They bought some up here, but they're really buying it here. And this is why I think the more institutional investors that come in this conversation range between 30 and 40,000, it's less likely that it's going to drop below this, but there still could be retail investors that didn't sell. And they had plenty of opportunity to sell. Look at this, all this 40, 50,000. If you bought it below 30,000, you probably sold, I mean, unless you're a really long-term hodler. But I don't know. I mean, I sold mine up here at 50, figuring that it would come back down and that I could use this extra coinage to divest into some altcoins and then buy back in. And that's what I'm doing. So I had thousands of dollars worth of Bitcoin. Not that really. I had a couple $1,000s worth of Bitcoin. I had like $4,000 worth of Ethereum that I bought in 2017. And I exited my positions when Bitcoin was up here and Ethereum was at its high. And then it gave me some extra coins to move around to the altcoins. And now I'm looking at buying back in. And also, so I'm putting about 400 here. I do expect this is a big downward trend. And I do expect that a lot of curiosity amongst the retail investors, is it going to come back down here to 20? And if that's the case, we can expect more sell off here. And that's why this chop is happening. But as long as commercial investors, institutional investors are willing to buy here, then we might exit this triangle to the upside. It's quite possible. The retail investors, they're going to buy back in after we break out to the upside strongly. We have to have a strong breakout to the upside of this triangle. And it probably has to test 50,000. If we break up and test 50,000, what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot of retail investors buy in here about 10% out of this breakout. So this is 37. You'll have a lot of them start to buy in here at 40. And if we see this parabolic move up to 50, they're going to keep buying, keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. And then some of them will stall out 50. And we're going to have a conversation that moves sideways here around 50. And our conversation bracket will be between the 40 and the 50,000 range. More specifically, probably between 43 and about 52. And we'll move sideways between here, crossing over this midpoint here at about 48,032. So this is what I expect. This will happen. That will happen. That conversation will happen. But I think there's also going to be a conversation that happens down here with the Bears, in which we look at, because there's a lot of consolidation that happened here. There's a lot of consolidation that happened here, and this wasn't that long ago. This was November of 2020, where Bitcoin was trading at $18,000, and at the beginning of the launch here, this big ramp up, it held steady. You could see there was conversation here, probably at around the half. And again, these were the tops. This was $10,000. This is $12,000. It fell down to about $10,000 was trading. So the conversation was between 10 and 12, really between, yeah, like basically 10 and $12,000 for several years. This was a push up back here. Now this is 2019, where it popped up to 14,000 before being pushed down again. But this is where I bought, right in here. And our high was up here at 20,000. So you go to 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 19, 20, 21. So notice that 3 years. This is pretty tremendous movement upwards. So look at all this history down here. Can we hold a base foundation level up here? I think it might be too soon, but nobody knows, because a lot of a lot of institutional money came in, and that's what probably bought all this up. So it may never come back down again. So I think now's a good time to buy Bitcoin. Either way, we're right in the middle of the highest high we've ever seen and the lowest low. Well, I don't think we're ever going to see a $6,000 Bitcoin again, people. I don't think we're ever going to see a $10,000 Bitcoin ever again. I think more than likely we might test 15 at the absolute lowest. More than likely 20. I'm thinking 20 to this, like actually 25 to 28 is where I think we will see this tested. I'd be surprised if it breaks below 20 in the next couple years, and that's it. So, if you're lucky enough to buy it, if 20, if you want to wait to buy it down here, then go ahead and do so. I'd recommend dollar cost averaging starting here and putting, whatever you can afford as you make extra money, invest it as it moves its way down and test these lower markets. You will have chances to test 30 and 20K again, at 30 again. If it gets into 20s, it might dip down, but it'll probably push back up into 30. And I think that's going to be the conversation until we eventually have a break up to the high side. And that's it for my technical analysis today. I hope this helped you, gives you some confidence. This is what I'm doing. It's take it for what it is. I have some experience, but I'm not an expert, and nobody can claim to be an expert in the markets, really. I mean, you can be an expert at knowing technical analysis, but there's a point where you have to combine that with your fundamental analysis, and fundamental analysis is affected by the news. It's affected by the whole entire world, not only just Elon Musk. So you can't predict these things. You can't predict what he's going to tweet and how it's going to affect the market. So that's why technical analysis will only ever take you so far. You also have to pay attention to fundamental analysis. Set your marks, your buy-ins and your trades, wherever you want, and have some fun. Have some fun with it. It's all a game, people. Don't risk more than you can afford to lose. Make sure you have your rent and bills paid. But instead of buying those extra lattes, maybe make your coffee at home and cook at home, because right now is a pretty cool time. It's not too late to invest in crypto. Crypto follows Bitcoin. Bitcoin will see $100,000 coin. That means if it's at 35, that's about, when it hits 100, think about that. If you buy it at 35, that means it has to get to $70,000 for you to get your money back. You could pull, and then everything after that is going to be profit. So, if you had, when it reaches 100, you will have doubled your money, right? Essentially doubled your money. So, that's not bad. And it will reach 100 within the next 4 years. These are not my estimations. Nobody can guarantee anything, but by all fundamental and technical reasoning, uh, this is what's going to happen because there's institutional money in play now. There's bankers' money, and they're not going to let it fall that far. Other banks are going to want, they're going to need to get some of this in their coffers as well. So this is what's happening. Um, this is the new triangle right here, and just to be clear, this lavender triangle is the new triangle that we're going to be trading in. And this takes us possibly all the way out to the 17th of June. But there will be some small breakouts to the top and bottom of this. But this is basically the trading range, with the middle of it being sitting at about 37,000. So I think anything less than 37,000 is a good buy right now. Um, you'll have an opportunity to sell a little higher as it ping pongs up here at about the 38,000 range. But so you can buy it, if you bought it now, 35, that's a $3,000 swing. That's, again, that's not a huge percentage wise. If you want to day trade, this is day trading time. So you want to go into your altcoins where you have wider swings on more volatility. It's not good day trading time for Bitcoin. It's good to get your coins because the Bitcoin has major moves. And when it moves, it's either going to move majorly to the downside, it's going to move majorly upside. If it moves to the downside, it's not going to stay down for long. There are people waiting to buy this heavily at 30,000, 28,000, 25,000. For it to break through all those buyers, um, it's going to take some time. It's going to take months to do that. So you have a lot of time to buy between this $35,000 and $25,000 range, but it's only going to ping pong so much like that before more institutionals, as more retail trader comes in, there's more institutional pressure, more pressure on the institutions, the bankers, to say, you know what, this is something that's not going away. We need to get some of this ourselves. And they buy in bulk. So that's when you see those big shots up like we do here. But again, look at this conversation that happened between $30,000 and $40,000 not that long ago, just at the beginning of 2021. The same size width of this triangle. So here we go. It's consolidating right around this 37. We'll break out one way or the other. Keep an eye on it, folks. We're going to be drawing a new triangle. This one points out at June 17th. Talk to you on the next triangle drawing. Good luck trading. Happy trading. I hope everybody does well. Most of all, have some fun. And remember, don't risk your rent. Make sure you get your rent paid, everybody. This is latte money, coffee money, fun money. This is your fun money. So have fun with it. I hope this helped you. Gives you some insight of what I think the market's going. And follow me if you like the insight. If you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to take any before I sign out. See that there's a couple people watching. And this is just my trading time right now. But other than that, since there's no questions, I will end the broadcast. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.